you guys haven't done any like practice exams on the LMS just yet, don't worry about it. You still have plenty of time. The exam is in about five weeks? Yeah, so that's plenty of time for you to just get a crack into those exams that are on the LMS. Previously, I had done maybe 6 or 7 of each section, like of the exams in each section in like blocks. So, and that's generally how many most of the LMS students would get through. On the day of the actual exam itself, just one of the most key points is to just keep your cool and not let like any of the other students that are also taking an exam just throw you off your confidence. Just keep your cool. Remember what you've practiced. You're gonna do great. Yeah. So, were there any other questions? Oh, were there any questions?
Were there any strategies you used when?
Really, it depends on each kind of section. Like section 3, you probably may have gone through some of these yesterday, but there's a lot of little nifty tips and tricks, and like little patterns that you can just look out for. Because for section 3, there are only really so many questions they can ask you. Section 1 and 2 are kind of a little more spontaneous, but there are also like little tricks there as well. Any other questions?
How did you find the time constraints? Like, was it really pressured, or did you feel
There were time constraints, but those time constraints are kind of like purposely made to put you like under pressure. And it also kind of depends how comfortable you feel with each section. So personally, section 2 was not the greatest section for me. So, so that section was pretty time constraining. And for section 1, you get some of those questions that you kind of just like, you look at and it's like, this is going to take me a while. So, but you just got to be able to recognize that. And especially with the new structure for your LMS, this may be a little bit different for you guys, because instead of having allocated time for each section, you're just going to have your big one block of 3 hours, and you can use that time however you want, really. So extra time that you may have had on section 1 last year can be used for other sections. Yeah, but Ed will talk about that later today. Any other questions?
What is the practice you did on LMS? What other practices did you do?
One great thing is like just to kind of work through some questions with like other students, because just to see how they like thought about like how they would approach certain questions and such, and you know they may have their own little tips that they figured out. So last year we had a little kind of study group for the UMAT, and aside from like the lot of fun that we had just being together, really, it was really productive as well. Any other questions?
If you were to do it again, what would you do differently?
Oh, let's do it again. I'm not too sure. It's probably to just like be a little bit more prepared for section 2, just to like do a little bit more reading to get like my vocabulary up, because there are some questions phrased in section 2 that are really, really verbose, that are like really wordy, and that kind of makes things a little bit annoying. But yeah, I don't know, I thought the exam was pretty good.